What if history's fiercest rebel was someone the world never expected? A man with little formal education became a voice that still echoes. What if I told you that someone dismissed as just a peasant became the symbol of justice that still burns in hearts today? His name was Emiliano Zapata, and he wasn't born a leader, he was forged into one. Picture this: rural Mexico, 1879. A world where the powerful took everything and the powerless had no voice. Where families worked stolen land, dreaming of harvests they'd never see. But some people refuse to accept that's just how things are. Zapata grew up watching his people work themselves to death on land stolen from their ancestors. He watched children go hungry while landowners grew fat. He watched injustice become normal, and something inside him said, "No more." But here's what they don't teach you in history books. Zapata's first act of rebellion wasn't leading an army, and it wasn't a shout. It was a quiet question, one that still echoes. The question was this: why should we accept less than what we deserve? At 30 years old, Zapata stood in a village meeting. The landowners had just seized more property. Everyone was angry, but no one knew what to do. This wasn't just about crops. It was about the right to live with dignity in your own homeland. Dust rose from the cracked earth as neighbors gathered under a thatched roof. Sweat and silence hung heavy. And then Zapata stood up, not because he was the smartest person in the room, not because he had all the answers, but because he had something more powerful than knowledge. He had clarity. He said, "If we don't fight for our land, who will? If we don't stand for our children, who will? If we don't act now, when will we?" And here's the lesson that will change your life. You don't need permission to stand up for what's right. You don't need a title. You don't need everyone to understand. You just need the courage to say, "This ends with me." Because leadership isn't about being chosen. It's about choosing to act when others choose to wait. But Zapata was about to learn that choosing to fight means choosing to sacrifice everything. They called him a bandit, a terrorist, a dreamer who didn't understand reality. For 10 years, Zapata lived in the mountains. 10 years of sleeping on the ground. 10 years of being hunted. 10 years of watching friends die for a dream that seemed impossible. His wife begged him to come home. His children grew up without their father. The comfortable life he could have lived, gone. He missed his daughter's first steps, just like the mothers who miss moments so their children can have more. His wife cried into pillows instead of his arms. But every time doubt crept in, he remembered the faces of the people working land that should have been theirs. He remembered the children with empty stomachs. He remembered why he started. And here's what separated Zapata from everyone else. He understood that your values aren't just pretty words you hang on a wall. They're decisions you make when making them costs you everything. Most people say they believe in justice until justice requires sacrifice. Most people say they want change until change demands courage. Most people say they'll stand up until standing up means standing alone. But not Zapata. And maybe not you either, because the question isn't whether you have principles. The question is, what are you willing to lose for them? Then something beautiful happened. Something that proves that one person's conviction can move mountains. The peasants started joining him, not because he promised them easy victory, not because he guaranteed success, but because he showed them that it was possible to live with dignity instead of fear. His army grew from dozens to thousands, from thousands to a movement that shook the foundations of power in Mexico. And here's the miracle. A man who barely could read became a voice that still echoes today. A man dismissed as just a peasant became the symbol of everyone who refuses to accept injustice. But Zapata's greatest victory wasn't military, it was spiritual. He proved that you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need to have all the answers to make a difference. You just need to be willing to act on the answers you do have. It's the quiet confidence to say no, the strength to set a boundary, the decision to keep going when no one is watching. He took the fire burning in his heart and lit it in others. He took his anger at injustice and transformed it into a force for change. And that transformation, that's available to you right now. Because every woman who's ever stood up in a meeting when everyone else stayed silent, that's Zapata. Every mother who's fought for her children's future, that's Zapata. Every person who's chosen courage over comfort, that's Zapata living through you. They killed Emiliano Zapata in 1919, shot him down when he was just 39 years old. The powerful men thought that would end his movement. They were wrong. Because you can kill a person, but you can't kill an idea whose time has come. You can silence a voice, but you can't silence the echo it creates in every heart that refuses to give up. Today, Zapata's words still ring true. It is better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. His face is painted on walls from Mexico City to Los Angeles. His spirit lives in every person who chooses to fight rather than surrender. And here's what I want you to understand. Zapata's story isn't history, it's prophecy. It's a preview of what happens when ordinary people decide they're tired of accepting less than they deserve. The land Zapata fought for, his people reclaimed pieces of it, and the dream still lives. The dignity he died for, it lives in every person who knows their worth. The Mexico he dreamed of, it's still being built by people who remember that change starts with choice, your choice. So let me ask you the same question Zapata asked himself. What are you fighting for? Maybe it's demanding the respect you've quietly earned. Maybe it's finally naming the dream you've buried under doubt. Maybe it's a better future for your children, the business you've been afraid to start, the dream you've been afraid to chase, the truth you've been afraid to speak. Whatever it is, Zapata's life teaches us this. You already have everything you need to begin. You're not underqualified, you're underclaimed. You don't need more credentials or time. You just need to act. You just need to decide that today is the day you stop waiting for permission and start taking action. Because the same fire that burned in Zapata burns in you. The same courage that moved him can move you. The same determination that changed Mexico can change your life. The question isn't whether you're capable of transformation. The question is whether you're ready to choose it. Zapata once said, "The land belongs to those who work it with their hands." Today, I say to you, your life belongs to you, but only if you're willing to fight for it. While legends evolve, the truth at their core remains. The fight for dignity never ends. Your dreams, your values, your voice, your future, They're not going to hand them to you. You're going to have to take them. But when you do, when you finally decide that you're done accepting less, done staying quiet, done playing small, you'll discover what Zapata discovered, that one person with conviction is more powerful than 1,000 people with interest. That courage is contagious, that your time is now. Viva la revolución! Rise, fight, transform. Emiliano Zapata helped create the Mexico that now lives in you. So rise, because the revolution didn't end. It's waiting for your voice. Now it's your turn. If this fire is burning in your heart, share this story. Because Zapata's revolution didn't end with his death. It reignites every time someone like you chooses courage. Every time someone chooses to rise. Because the revolution didn't die, it evolved, and now it's yours. ¿Estás lista? Are you ready? Hit subscribe for more life-changing wisdom. From history's greatest achievers, remember your legacy starts now. Rise and shine. Explore our Spanish channel to learn Spanish.